Welcome to the Second Season Podcast, a podcast for athletes, entrepreneurs, and families chasing legacy. I'm Mason.
And I'm Danny. We're two former athletes who realize the game never stops, it just changes arenas.
And we're here to talk about what happens in life after sports.
Competing in business, growing with your spouse, and building wealth through real estate.
My whole life of being an athlete shaped and molded me into somebody who was ready to take on the entrepreneurship journey before I even knew that this was what I wanted to do, because sports built the foundation in my life for me for everything that I have done ever since. So played basketball my entire life. I've been an entrepreneur in the business space for, the last 13, 14 years. And I'm a proud family man, a proud husband, proud father of 3 sons. I coach basketball. I'm a loan officer. I'm vice president of a Fed fund bank. And I'm looking forward to showing you how sports has translated into a lot of areas of my life that I've been able to succeed in and enjoy my life while doing it.
Love it. It's amazing. A little bit about me. I grew up in northern Michigan. My entire family has been in the medical field. So when I knew that I wanted to get into real estate, I was kind of the black sheep of the family, black horse of the family. I knew that I've always wanted to have my own business. I've always been entrepreneurial. I went to Western Michigan. I played Division I basketball there. Always knew that I would rather just build my own business for myself. And I was an entrepreneurship major. And the biggest thing for me is I wanted to create a platform and essentially build my own legacy. So I had a lot of things that's happened in my life, good and bad. And, it's really molded me to who I am today. So now I flip houses. I'm a real estate investor. I raise millions of dollars in capital for some of our deals. I own a wholesale business, and I specifically work on the commercial side of brokerage.
So why we are doing this is because we are not like online gurus selling a course right now. This is what we do. We are in the trenches in this space every single day. And made a lot of mistakes, learned a lot of lessons, right?
Met a lot of good people who have great platforms, do a lot of good.
Yeah. And failing forward and being around like good people, right? Like that is what has made this journey, so special. Like
that's how we met.
It is.
We met at a North Point Bank event.
Yeah, think about that. That's literally wild.
It's what, three years ago?
Yeah, I'm so grateful for that. And I looked at you. What did I say?
You said you had to have hooped. You said you had to.
I said, bro, you're playing in the macro with us. So, but what's really cool about this is that, we're really looking forward to just sharing like what we have done that works and what we have done that haven't, right? And I think like in the beginning of the journey, you're searching for shortcuts, tips, tricks, things like that. But really the only shortcut is your circle, right? And who you're around and like who is with you while you're pushing yourself, to do more, which has started our friendship, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think the big thing that people need to realize is like nothing ventured, nothing gained. I was at a real estate conference last week with Brett Tanner. So shout out Brett Tanner, but that was a quote that he said that really stuck. Like, you don't have to be the most qualified person to start whatever you want to start. Mm-hmm. I heard a great analogy once that the best entrepreneurs are the ones that build the plane as it's falling out of the sky. Like, you just got to start. You got to take massive imperfect action, and you're going to have to just figure it out on its own.
Yeah. It's in those moments. I experience this a lot when I go out to Forward Academy in Las Vegas.
Yeah, which I can't wait to go.
A group that I'm super proud to be a part of. Just amazing, going back to people, right? Amazing group of people. But as much as I love it, it's like Christmas for me when I'm going out there knowing that I'm going to really dive into my personal development. It's like right before, it's like always something that makes it not the perfect time. Like there's something that pops up, right?
Always something that's inconvenient.
But you still do it. And then when you get there and you get on the other side of this, like in this last mastermind that I was at a couple weekends ago, like you're there and then your soul's on fire. You're like, this is why you do the hard things, or like there's no perfect time, right? For anything.
No, that's huge.
And when we were talking about this podcast, and the main thing that brought us together is the three pillars of our life that are going to be the foundation about everything we talk about on this. And that is, life after sports, ex-athletes transitioning from one arena, right, to the next.
Which is super hard. I mean, I think most athletes, I think, can relate. Like, when you're growing up, that's your sole focus.
Yep.
And I know for me specifically, I was playing Division I basketball at Western. I remember the spring of my senior year. I'm like, man, I've been hooping for 22 years. And the first week of March rolled around and our last game was done. I did not know what I was going to do with myself.
Because your whole identity is
that's all you do.
Your entire life.
That's all you do.
Yeah.
So I think especially trying to just build this platform, like there's a lot of purpose that you're going to find outside of sports and in new ventures that you try to take on.
Yeah, amen. And you only know what you know at that time, which why it feels like it's not like feeling like your life is over, but it feels like maybe your purpose is, right? So that's pillar number one is life after sports, former athletes, current athletes. Pillar number two, that's doing this with your spouse, right? Entrepreneurship, building with your spouse, and how special that is when you get to do that together. Yeah. And that's something that we've both been able to experience.
Yeah. And I guess I'm really now just getting into it. So my fiance, Sarah, she just quit her W-2 2 weeks ago. So just honestly, the timing of this podcast worked out great where, she was a software developer, W-2, making good money, constant 9 to 5. But, if there's a time to try anything, at least for us, we don't have a huge overhead. We don't have a lot of other responsibilities outside of ourselves.
Right.
So we're like, let's do it. What's the worst that's going to happen?
Right. And what's so crazy about that, you're in the beginning of that journey. And now my wife and I, Carol and I are, have our 3 sons growing up, and she's been an absolute beast our whole life in the workforce. Right.
Yeah.
However, and this is what we talk about a lot, like dreams are allowed to change, especially once you start experiencing some of these things. Right. And so in the same sense, my wife, Carol, she just left her, high-paying W-2, big responsibility job that she's had for almost a decade, choosing our family, but also choosing to go on this journey with me too. So I'm so excited that we get to experience this together. And I know the houses that we're doing right now that we're going to dive into a lot on these episodes of what we're where we're buying, what we're doing to them, what the plans are with those houses. Doing that with Carol on the one that we're doing right now has been an absolute blast, man.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yep. Okay. So pillar number 3, right? So pillar number 1 is life after sports. Pillar number 2 is going on this journey with your spouse, doing these projects and this adventures, right, with your spouse. And then pillar number 3, it really is going to focus in on building wealth through real estate.
Ownership.
Because for you and I, it has changed our lives.
For sure.
Our closest sphere of people, the people that we do life and do business with, who are also in this space, right? Which there's so many. We talk about this.
There's so many.
So many, especially here in West Michigan. There's so many people that you don't even know about that are doing amazing things that are low key, head down, flipping X amount of houses,
came from nothing,
making 7 figures,
self-made,
100%. And it's just really cool. The opportunity that there is, because especially in an upcoming city like Grand Rapids that we live in,
it's come a long ways.
There's just so much opportunity still here, even with it being a popular thing now, nationally known thing, right? Like there still is a lot of opportunity for home ownership here. So this pillar number 3 is really to just equip our people, right? Let them know that they can. If you look at this first-time home buyer age that's getting older and older and older, when people see that, they think, okay, well, maybe I'm only 24 or 26 or 32. I'm not even at the average first-time home buyer age. Like it's not meant for me. It's not true.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a huge push for education. I think people need to understand, like, being a real estate agent myself, especially in the residential space, and we do loans together all the time.
Yep.
And you probably see it more than I do. Even on the first-time home buyer program, like I encourage people to buy a duplex. Buy a duplex, live in one unit, rent the other one out, cover most of the mortgage, reduce your overhead living expenses, and on top of that, you get to learn what it's like to become a landlord as well.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't think being a landlord is meant for everyone.
Right.
But I also think you don't know if you're never going to try.
Right. Well, you make a big point, because I'm not a landlord. I got investment properties, but I hire a property manager because
for sure,
that is for me a part of the operation. I have a full-time job. I'm the head of a household too, right? And a dad who coaches basketball as well. So, you know, for some people in right scenarios, like if it's within reach and you have the capacity, managing your own properties, go for it. See if you like it. Yeah. But if what I have found is that actually becomes the sole reason why people don't like investing in real estate.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't want another job.
Yeah. On the flip side of that too, I think people have to understand what they're worth an hour.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is rather than trying to chase down your tenant who hasn't paid you or they're a week late on rent, like your time's probably best spent bringing more money in the door. Yep. Right? Yep. Building more relationships with people, finding more deals, writing more offers, building more relationships.
Yep.
So, and on top of that, I really don't think you have to recreate the wheel. Like a lot of these business models, there's already a platform. There's already a way that people have done things for so long. So for us, at least for me in my business, is taking that foundation that people already have and then just tweaking it to make sense with my life and how I want to grow my business. Yeah. So it's not rocket science. You can take an existing model.
Oh, well, success leaves clues. Like there's not every single person that is succeeding in something has learned from someone, right? And some sort of mentorship. Like, right. It's very, I don't know of any person that's just like discovered everything on their own.
Well, you could probably even speak forward. Like it's definitely worth paying money to be in rooms with people who have already done it.
Yeah, it's proximity, dude. It's you stop chasing tips and tricks and you start chasing the right room. Mm-hmm. And there's a rush to that. And the rush is who you become. That's what it is about. Because as you get older, as you get more experience, as you experience more stuff in life, there's stuff that fills you up and there's stuff that drains you. Mm-hmm. Some of the stuff that drains you is still necessary for the responsibilities that we all have. Let's just be real. Yeah. But the stuff that fills you up is always worth it. And that's for me, the gym still, and then seeking mentorship, knowing what's working, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. You've heard 1,000 people say that, right? Or more, but it really is true. Or if you are the smartest person in the room, hopefully you're, being collaborative with others and then learning from others as well to become smarter, right? Sure. But like there's something really magical and special about when a group of people who are all like on a journey of let's get better, let's go make an impact, let's go make a big splash. When you work towards that with like a group of people, which is what the mentorship group I'm in, Forward Academy, I mean, dude, it's worth every penny. Yeah. And the one thing is time, right? Like we have to be very, very protective of our time. Yeah. But if you use your time and go do that stuff, it makes it easier to say no to the stuff that doesn't fill you up, right?
Yeah. Which is something honestly that I've struggled with. And I think that, you see on social media all the time that, gurus or people who operate in certain businesses or industries like push that you have to do this one specific thing. Yep. In my 20s, like I think you should take risks. I think you should do a lot of things. Like I've wholesaled houses, flipped land, raised capital, been a real estate agent for both sides, done seller financing, I've wholesaled sub-2 deals. Yep. I've done land contract deals. I bought my house on lease option. Like I think you have to try all these different strategies and ways to get into deals. And that's how you learn. Yep. So in your 20s, I think it's a time to like take risks, learn, put yourself out there, be willing to get a little bit vulnerable and learn. Yeah. So, and on top of that, I know we were just talking about purpose. Yeah. I think that when I was getting started, and we can even roll into how I flipped my first house.
Yeah. That's lesson number one that we have to share.
Yeah. But I think the biggest thing for me, especially when I was trying to make my way and create a path for myself, is find a way, have some purpose, just understand what other people need and then fill that void for them. Right. So I knew that for me in real estate, like if I could find the deal, finding capital's relatively easy. At least I think it's relatively easy. And I always knew that if I could provide the deal, then I was always going to have a place in the real estate market. Yep. So that's how I built my business.
Yep. And that's amazing. And like what's inspiring about what you've done in your 20s is that you have enough like social proof where in your 20s you can start being a voice of influence in business, right?
Which is hard. It's been hard for me, dude.
100%. Everyone starts somewhere, dude. But here's the reality is that whether you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, like it really comes down to the energy that you walk with. It doesn't matter what your age is. Sometimes there's like ex-athletes who struggle for a decade, bro, after, or 15 years. Like, what is my next purpose?
Yeah.
Right? But then it clicks. And it's like riding a bike, right? We talked about this in the beginning. The game just changes arenas. So once you do find that purpose again, you're back competing at a high level, doing well against your peers the same way that you did, right, when you were younger.
Yeah.
And I think a main thing that I really like about what you're doing right now, Danny, is that a lot of people, they feel like there's no hope for them to do this because they don't have it all figured out. And you just said something really powerful, that like what you have tried, and actually you list out like all of the options on how to buy a house. If you laid those 6-7 options of how to do this creatively, you've tried them all, right?
Yeah.
So tell us, how did you get in? Like, how did you do your first one? Was that a thought that you had of feeling like, hey, this isn't possible? But what like shifted in that moment? And then how did you figure it out?
So I'll start from really when I first learned about real estate. So I was in college. It was spring of my senior year. This is like February, March of 2022. And I kid you not, I was scrolling on TikTok and I came across someone, I swear, and I came across someone who was talking about wholesaling real estate. And I'm like, I've never heard of this concept before. So my aunt, who's a broker on the east side of Michigan, I called her. I said, hey, I just saw this on TikTok. Like, is this real? Like, how does this work? Is this like being a real estate agent? She's like, no, it's different. Like, it's mostly on the real estate investment side. So I like went down YouTube University. Like, I'm watching YouTube videos. Like, I'm trying to learn everything I could associated with this concept. So I was driving for dollars, writing down addresses, trying to find the, shittiest house in the nicest neighborhood. Yep. So my aunt had a connection in Grand Rapids, so that's how I ended up moving here. I worked for a company, 1099. This is July of 2022 is when I graduated. And I was a 1099 employee. I had, kid you not, I had $3,000 in my bank account. Like, I just graduated college. Like, I'm just trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. So I was an acquisition manager for JTK Property Solutions. Shout out Joel Cook. He was awesome. I learned a lot in real estate just through him. So what an acquisition manager is we're responsible for dealing with sellers, negotiating properties, getting properties under contract, walking houses, putting together rehab budgets. And I had this house in Wyoming, Michigan, that I walked, and I'm like, oh, this is a pretty sweet property. There's some great comps. And I was like, okay, there's a couple buyers who I knew we were probably going to sell that contract to. We got them through, and they're like, yeah, you know what? We're not interested. And I'm like, this is a good deal. I'm like, I don't know why anyone's not buying this thing. So I went to the owner of the company. And I said, hey, if I can raise the money for this deal, and I was 22 at the time. I said, hey, if I can raise the money for this deal, would you could I just buy it with what I got it locked up for? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. So I go to our dispo agent, Amber, and she was probably upper 30s, maybe 40. And I said, hey, do you want to come flip this house with me? And she's like, yeah, well, how are we going to get the money? And I just started calling people in my network. Like, I called my uncle, I called my parents. I was calling, I'm like, hey, can you hook me up with this person? Like, I know they're a financial advisor. Maybe they have some money they could lend me. So I was just like hustling, just grinding, just trying to find someone who would give me the money. So I call my uncle, and he's like, yeah, I'd be interested in it. And so I said, okay, let's schedule a call. So I had all the photos from the house we walked, put down the rehab budget of what I thought we were going to spend. I'm like, here are all the comps. Like, I think this is a good deal. Would you lend me $160,000? And he's like, yeah, we'll do it. So I think I paid him 10% interest on his money and 10% of the net profit on it as well. So I got the house under contract for $115,000. I got a loan with him for $160,000. So the difference was the rehab budget. And I was the one swinging the hammer. And so I fixed that house up and we sold it, and we made $62,000.
Wow.
At 22, using all other people's money to flip my very first house. And so that's when I got my first taste of, okay, I can use other people's money to buy real estate. And yeah, here we are to this day.
That's insane.
So that's how I got started.
That's insane. And so a lot of people, like, that story is inspiring, because a lot of people that might have $3,000 in their bank, they're like, hey, I'm not in a position to do this, right?
Yeah.
But it's just about like the doors that you go knock on in theory, right?
Yeah.
How can you creatively get this done? With that being said, as soon as you started telling the story about what you took on top of the purchase price, right? Because you took that for the rehab, the rehabilitation. So what they're going to be upgrading the home with.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people aren't confident in swinging the hammer themselves. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Right. So for you, you were able to put your nose in. Is there anything that you contracted out like that? You were fully comfortable
we contracted
with?
out, like, we had to put a new furnace in there. So we had an HVAC guy. And like, honestly, how I got those contacts was Facebook groups.
Sweet.
Like Grand Rapids Metro page, like shout out Grand Rapids Metro page. They have, it's a specifically real estate platform. Like if you need handyman or HVAC guys or whatever. So like, that's how I found my contacts.
Yep.
But the important thing for me and why I wanted to do it myself and swing the hammer is I wanted to know what things cost.
Yep.
I think it's important to know what things cost, especially when you start outsourcing, hiring contractors to do work. You know, you need to have a general idea of what things are going to cost.
Yep. So you heard it there first. Like if you think that this is out of reach, this is just literally one of so many lessons and stories that we are going to share that we hope you relate to. We hope that you can find yourself like being like, hey, this intrigues me. I didn't think that this was possible. A lot of the stuff creative wise, because I'm on the bank side. I fund, yes, for investors, portfolio, conventional government loans, the whole 9 yards when it comes to like residential lending. But there's another world on top of residential lending in the creative finance space, right? So as we learn, as we're doing, like I'm learning from you, as you're doing these deals, I've been amazed at the how you can do this. Like even somebody who is pretty well versed in how to fund a residential property right now, right? Like there's always stuff that I'm learning from you on this creative finance that I feel like is just going to be uber valuable.
Yeah. And there's a lot of different ways to get creative on putting deals together. Like there really is. You just have to know what questions to ask.
Yep.
So if you never ask a question, then you're never going to get an answer. So if you can take being told no a lot and ask a lot of people if they're willing to sell their house, that might come out wrong. But you know what I'm saying? Like if you don't ask, you're never going to know. You're never going to know the answer.
Right.
You got to put it out. You got to put yourself out there.
Right. So this is just the beginning. Every episode we're diving into real talk about our family, faith, financial freedom, all through the lens of life after sports. If this hits home, please subscribe, share with a friend, and tune in for the next episode.
Your second season starts now.